I'm Christian Haas. I have my design studio in Porto, where I live and work since 10 years. And I'm an industrial designer, and we design with my team products for lifestyle brands in various fields. So I moved to Portugal in 2014, and Wewood actually was my first proper Portuguese client. So I have a special connection to Wewood, and my connection with Joana Marcelino, that I think is a great creative director, is amazing. And Joana puts a lot of trust in the designers, and she gave me the freedom to create a bit what I was feeling, what would be right for Wewood as a brand. And I'm happy to design so many products for Wewood. For me, it's actually the way to work in the 21st century. I don't see any reason why we should not mix technology and craftsmanship. I think this is a very contemporary way, and this is how the company should work, actually. So everything that can be done better by a machine, in my opinion, should be done by a machine. And everything that is necessary, and I think at Wewood we have still quite a lot of manual takes, actually, on a product that is done by hand, is good to be done by hand. And Wewood for me stands for exceptional quality when it comes to working with massive wood. And I really appreciate this mix of technology and craftsmanship in Wewood. You would also not, for example, if you cut grass, you don't do it with the scissors. You have a grass cutting machine. Doesn't mean that the gardener is unnecessary. So I think the mix of both is quite good. I don't think so, especially in the market that we are aiming to, or the market of, let's say, conscious people that buy our products. I think we will continue working with craftsmen and designers, because you have a special connection to the product, or you get a special connection. We are designing not just to create a shape, but we also want to give the product a soul. This is what we are here for, and we use our experience. You can run it by AI or whatever, but we don't want soulless products. In my idea, a product should stand the test of time, not just from quality, but also design-wise. So that's why I would say a designer is kind of necessary to embrace this, a soul to the product, because this is what makes sense. For me, it's not at all difficult, because since almost 25 years, when I founded, right after studies, when I founded my studio, my preference, and it didn't really change, was working with, let's say, honest materials that are learned for centuries, that are approved by human mankind. This can be massive wood, can be porcelain, can be glass, can be textile. This was almost my point of focus. And I work also with some Japanese brands that are very skilled in craftsmanship and woodworking. So I really appreciate, and I think there's also a special beauty that lies in massive wood. And as a Japanese competitor, let's call it like that, calls it, massive wood, also they want to create furniture that last as long as the tree needs to grow, basically. And I think this is also something that we should have in mind. Wood is a sustainable resource if you use it in a conscious way. For me, it is a material that I really like to work with. And if we create products that are not just fashionable and fast and quick, and that you would like to pass on to the next generation, this is the ideal circumstance. And for me, this is really something to aim to. So when I started my career, I started mainly in the tableware section. So I designed a lot of glassware and tableware and porcelain. But it was my aim, I want to do furniture, but nobody wanted anything from me. So furniture definitely and lighting are one of my favorite fields right now. But I also like to expand. How is it in the contract field? How is interior design? I really like to mix different fields. I like to challenge myself, basically. My favorite product at Wewood, I would say that it's really the Soma table from the beginning, because as I told before, it marks the first collaboration with a Portuguese brand on a high standard, let's say. And Soma for me has a certain ability. It's a massive wood table, but it's still kind of lightweight and kind of elegant and quite of minimal. That is what I really like. And if I have to point out another product, that's the latest product, that's the platform bed, that I also really, really appreciate and like, because I have the feeling we're in a good way with Wewood and with our designs to Wewood to really push a bit the boundaries of design and conceptual context, to really try to help creating unique products and identifiable products for a Portuguese brand. Both countries are a big part of the cake called Europe, let's say. So we have definitely similarities and we are bound to each other. But of course, I also see a difference between Germany and Portugal. And I have to say that I happily adapted to the Portuguese mentality, still keeping my German roots. And I don't see things so rigid anymore, like you would do probably in Germany, timings, deadlines, whatever. So I think my life quality really improved dramatically. My life and work quality, I would even say, improved dramatically in the past 10 years. I think the Germans, of course, as everybody knows, they're very good in executing and they're quick and they're efficient. But also the Portuguese way of approaching things that are a bit more emotional, that are a bit more, yeah, it comes from another side. It comes from another side of the brain, basically, is also helpful. So I'm happy to experience a bit both ways of working and living. Before Porto, I lived for quite a while in Paris, and Porto has a very rich industry around of industry, not just industrial production, but also a lot of craftsmen. And this is really like sitting in a honeypot for a designer. So you have the opportunity to develop stuff, somebody that builds you prototypes, people that are available. So these opportunities, I feel really empowered as a designer that I have in Porto, living in Porto, given to me that I can transform my ideas into products quite quickly, even prototypes. Sometimes it's for a Portuguese brand, sometimes it's for an international brand, but I have the sensation I can really do something. And in general, the way of living, the lifestyle in Portugal is quite a beautiful one, because it combines professionality and leisure in a quite good way. I have the feeling, in a healthy way that feels for me very nowadays, that everybody is kind of dreaming of. And for me, this is something really special. As a person, I'm rather optimistic than pessimistic. Of course, I also see the negative part in all this, not really diversity, but in all this growth that we're experimenting in Portugal in the last 10 years. But I really, from personal experience, I have a lot of Portuguese friends. I'm really involved in the Portuguese cultural scene, let's say. But I have a lot of friends that, with interesting ideas, that come to Portugal and realize new projects. And I think this can really just enrich a country. So there's a lot of craftsmanship still existing in Portugal, but maybe sometimes it also needs a fresh view on that, let's say. And what is better than a fresh view from outside? And I think there's a certain dynamic happening now in Portugal that is not 100% just positive. Of course, it's a coin with two sides. But in my opinion, it leads to a rather positive growth than a negative growth. And this is something that I really appreciate. I definitely think that the Portuguese production and craftsmanship and all the facilities that is used mainly as producers for other companies, it's almost like a pity, you know. Wewood is one of the lighthouse companies, I would say. There's others, and I hope there will be more in future, that is profiting and that is actively changing a perception and creating a brand, a Portuguese brand of international, that is internationally acknowledged. And I hope more brands will follow this way, because I think this is what really Portugal also deserves. There's a strong identity, there's strong characters behind the brands with different visions. And I really, really, truly hope that this will increase. And the store, I mean, the location is fantastic. I mean, when I entered, like, wow, where are we here? It's amazing. And for me, Joanna did an amazing job in keeping the atmosphere of this almost palazzo style townhouse, let's say, in the center of Lisbon, and still transforming it in a way that you have the sensation, oh, you can do different settings, different moments in life. And it really brings up the products of Wewood. So I have to say, well done. So please come and explore the Wewood store in Lisbon that will open this autumn. And yeah, I hope to see you at the opening.